So tell us what else is on your radar right now. You've got,
I've been
I
paying
know.
attention to Jeff Fortenberry, who was a member of Congress. He resigned in the end of March after he was convicted of 3 felonies. And, for most people out there, pardon?
I said, as one does. The third
Yeah,
felony
exactly.
does you
Well,
in.
for most people out there, if we were convicted of a felony, it would be pretty hard to get that next job. It might be something we'd want to just kind of sweep under the rug. And if they ask, what happened to your last employer, rather than saying, oh, I resigned in disgrace, you'd just be like, I kind of grew out of that position a little bit, and it's fine. He had a very public felony conviction and resignation, and yet 4 days after resigning from Congress, he had started a new job. So we're taking a look at that. It's with a company that he owns some shares in. It's a privately held company. Just really interesting how quickly he was able to get a job coming out of Congress, and interested to see what his responsibilities are going to be, if he's going to be doing any sort of lobbying or advocacy on behalf of that company on the Capitol.
It does feel a bit like the zeitgeist has shifted, whether it is President Trump, whether it's just the general, tone of conversation and polarization. But look, I'm old enough to remember Gary Hart, that being a problem, somebody sitting on your lap, essentially. And now we are in a situation where you can have 3 felonies and life is good. You can have multiple court cases, life is good. Is this really, at the risk of sounding obvious, do you think that the mindset has changed around that moral compass or that moral gauge we used to use and judge politicians by?
Absolutely. And I too am old enough to remember Gary Hart, and Monkey Business was the
Congratulations
name
to
of the
both
boat,
of
correct?
them.
We've seen this changing over time. All of a sudden, Bill Clinton, remember, it was a big deal whether or not he had inhaled, which is just a ridiculous line to draw. But then there were rumors that George W. Bush had dabbled in drug use. There was Obama's admitted. So we've seen that kind of shift, what you can get away with. And then, Trump came and just obliterated all of that, because he's got, again, 36 active cases, no felony convictions, but has this whole history of problems that would have prevented anybody else previously from getting into office. And not an issue. Look at Matt Gaetz down in Florida. He's dealing with some pretty serious accusations, and he just won his primary yesterday.